GM, bro. It's a pretty good day to have awakened, JK.
Yeah, man, exciting stuff. I'm definitely ready to get after it. Obviously, lot to talk through. How you doing, man? How's the weekend?
Doing well, doing well. Had a nice weekend. Watched some tennis. Had a pool day yesterday at a friend's place. So I mean, really just nice and relaxing
Yeah.
and kind of taking in all the green on the charts, man. You couldn't ask for a better weekend. Just doing some relaxing and watching your portfolio go up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I love to
What
hear
about
it,
you,
man.
bro? What'd you get into?
I'm glad we're finally in that season. Similar actually. I did a pool day at my in-laws' place yesterday. The fam. And yeah, kind of just chilled for the weekend. Was nice. Super ready. Feeling relaxed and rested and ready to go for this week. I think it's going to be a really fun one. Um, yeah, we just got the news that Pumps Fun is going to go live in an hour from now. It was looking like it might go live right as we started the show, but thankfully we get a little time to talk through it a bit. We can start with macro stuff first, and then obviously eventually get to the pump stuff too. But whenever you are ready, we can get the show started.
Yeah, man. Give me just like 10 seconds here.
No problem.
Because crypto is not enough degen for me. I'm trying to check out some trading card stuff as we speak.
Is there a drop right now?
Yeah, it's like so it's for Magic the Gathering. They do like these collab sets every once in a while. So like this one that's this morning, like you can queue up for it right now. It's for Sonic the Hedgehog, like inspired cards. So trying to get a couple of those just to throw in storage for a few years.
Gotcha. All good. I got a couple more tweets prepared here.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm good now. So yeah, get your tweets ready, get everything going, and yeah, man, it's let's lock in.
All right. Thank you all for joining us here. Another Wake and Jake. Jinzo is out for the next month or so while he's in Greece. Maybe he'll join us for an episode or two. But during that time, Silva has graciously agreed to come in and fill the role and co-host with us. So super pumped, Silva, to have you here. Thank you, man. How you doing?
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate the warm intro, man. And yeah, happy to be here. GM to everyone in VC, everyone in the chats keeping up. And yeah, it's a beautiful day, man. That's about the best way I can sum it up.
Yeah, might as well get right into it. Obviously, a lot to talk about. The most pressing thing was Pump just announced 5 minutes ago that their token is going to go live. We had the sale over the weekend on Saturday, and that token is going to go live in less than an hour here. So, Reza, we're wrapping up the show. So, we'll certainly get into that. Going to start off as we always do, though, in macro first before we get to the Pump token talk. Um, since there's a ton going on over in that sector as well, obviously, given Bitcoin currently up 11% on the week, and that's with it dipping quite a bit this morning. ETH up a whopping 19% on the week. XRP up 27%, Sol up 8%, Hype up 20%, and then obviously a bunch of other coins doing well. Meme coins, altcoins, what have you. Pretty green all across the board. Really great to see. Really great to see the market back, man. Um, yeah, from what we're seeing now, I'd say Feeling still really bullish, even though we have pumped quite a bit. I'm still feeling like the leg isn't over yet from all the people that I follow. Again, not a macro expert. I try to follow people who I think are, and get like a general consensus sentiment of where we think we can go. And pretty much all the people who I've been following quite regularly and also reference all the time, who have a really high hit rate and very well respected traders. It still seems pretty consensus that they think we're going higher from here. Um, so that's pretty wonderful. Here's Web3 Quant said this yesterday. Strong weekly close. Incoming low time frame flushes are for buying. Meaning like a leverage flush, a dip. Um, in price to wipe out people who are being too aggressive with their risk, with their perp trading. I've seen a lot of, I've actually seen it quite a bit of people, screenshot of people winning pretty big on leverage, and that can be a bit of the snowball effect, I should say, where they keep going, and eventually get wiped. So that might be coming this morning here, as we're down about like 3K from the all-time high. And then maybe we go even further down, but I'm kind of waiting. I don't have any positions right now, but I'm waiting for possibly a little bit more, especially in altcoins. Given the pump announcement, I think we could get some really juicy spots here of dips as people load up liquidity for the pump, to play the pump coin. And I'm looking in some nice spots, which we can talk about obviously, but um, yeah, I'll stop for a second there. Silva, any takes here on macro, on Bitcoin, on ETH?
I think you nailed it really there. I think we probably follow a lot of the same, really sharp traders, Don Alt, Web3 Quant, a lot of the people you reference, Rookie XBT. And yeah, it's just everyone is hyper bullish. And I mean, I get why, right? It's we're in a really, really nice period. We kind of haven't seen everything pump this well across the board in what feels like years, if I'm being quite honest, right? Like, I mean, obviously, we've had Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs a couple different times over the past year or two. Um, but even then, right, we've known how ETH has struggled so hard, being in the 2000s range. Being 50% off its all-time high. Even Sol, hitting 220, 250 area back during the Trump meme coin drop, and still back down in the 160s now. So feels good seeing everything kind of pumped together. And even I saw another post this morning right as I was getting ready. I'll see if I can find it again just to throw it in chat here. But it might have been Web3 Quant, but it was, Bitcoin price is going up while Bitcoin dominance is actually falling. And so that's a really bullish indicator of, alt season potentially coming, and even if not a full blown alt season, right? It's just that we're seeing Bitcoin is not the only thing going up, as since dominance is falling, the market cap of altcoins, the other majors, are rising even faster than Bitcoin. So I think that in particular is just a super, outside of all the the narrative and some of the take artists that we like to follow and talk about. I think that, like, you can't argue with that, right? That's not a mouthpiece saying this or that. It's not a KOL or an influencer. That's data and math showing, yep, Bitcoin's rising, but everything else is also rising more and faster. So it, lock in, right? That's what that tells me. It's lock in season. Get ready.
Oh yeah, baby. Um, yeah, love to hear it, man. I think there's just so many factors going on from a macro standpoint that are pretty bullish right now. I just shared a post from Donald. This was a few days ago, but just in reference to the Treasury company Ponzi that's going on, which is like the micro strategy, obviously the biggest one, Michael Saylor, where they're just constantly buying Bitcoin and then funding for more Bitcoin buys over and over again as price goes up, and there's other companies um, that are seeing them make a ton of money doing this and being super successful, and they're kind of following along too, or they're just buying Bitcoin for the treasury as well. And then it's also happening. It's also happening on the east side of things too. We're starting to see, but he says, I think it's barely just begun. Uh, and when crypto went wild in 2017, it was all you saw everywhere. And he kind of wants to see the same fervor just on the institutional side before I start to get bearish. And he thinks we're not even close to that yet. So that's really good because Don will certainly be the one to tell you he's bearish when he is bearish. Um, and he is not right now. And he says he's not even anywhere close to it. So that's obviously a great sign from Don, who I really really respect as a trader, and who also has a longer term time horizon than most people that you will follow. Um, and I mentioned the east side of things too. I think it's pretty notable. Um, I don't know how legit this tweet is, but I know this guy's decently connected. He says I can confirm that there are at least five other Ethereum treasury companies that are yet to be announced. Some big, some small, but all with the purpose of stacking as much ETH as possible. And he also shared a really good link that you can track this at strategic ETH reserve XYZ, so you can see what companies are just stacking a bunch of ETH. Sharp Link Gaming SBET is like the most notable one. It was started by I think his name's Joseph Lubin, and he was one of the co-founders of ETH. And he's basically running the Michael Saylor playbook, but with SBET. And that stock's been ripping with ETH going up as well. So you're basically seeing the same Ponzi like buying for ETH now as well, which is part of the reason we're seeing a lot of strength from it. And you can also see that within the ETFs as well. Here's a couple of good resources. I'm all sharing all this in the voice hangout chat, by the way, if you're just listening right now. This is the Bitcoin ETF tracker, and then this is the ETH ETF tracker. And you can see, I mean, the last few days um, of the market, where the stock market's been open, it's just been gobbling up. If you go to the flows tab of this, and you can like switch it from Bitcoin to USD. Uh, I mean, a billion, literally net inflows of a billion for Bitcoin just on Friday, and then 1.2 billion on Thursday. For around, I mean, it was almost like 3 billion total last week, um, just for Bitcoin, and then ETH is on a smaller scale, but it also takes a lot less money to move the ETH price, given that it's a lot lower market cap than what Bitcoin is. And that's seen some extremely significant flows. I think some of the biggest that it's seen thus far, especially on back-to-back days, where Friday I saw 200 million in flows. Thursday I saw almost 400 million in flows, and then day before that another 200 million, almost a billion. I can do this math really quick off my head, but I think it's around basically a billion inflows last week just for ETH, which is very significant. So we're seeing a ton of just TradFi interest moving the market now, which is really cool. We had obviously there's been so much news over since the ETFs were starting to come out and did come out about how impactful it is for the crypto market, and we saw it in the beginning, and then they didn't really do much for a while, and now we're seeing it again when start to get this uptick. We can really see how much appetite for crypto that TradFi has now. It's been really fun to be able to track and watch all this. Yeah, I mean it's pretty evident that it's becoming basically part of a normal like TradFi portfolio is owning a percentage of Bitcoin and other crypto now.
Yeah, man. Very well said. I think all of the like we've seen the inflows just go higher and higher and higher, kind of week over week, it feels like. And I want to say there was a week or a day, a specific day last week, might have been Tuesday or Wednesday, where ETH inflows to ETFs almost surpassed Bitcoin inflows. It was like I want to say it was maybe like $2 or $12 million less than the Bitcoin ETF inflows that day, and it was like the closest they had been like since we've had the crypto ETFs established, right? Um, so I think that's just insanely bullish for both of them, but even more so, just everyone grave dancing on ETH. Everyone's saying it's a dead coin, blah blah blah. Like what pivoting to the whatever the new L2 or L3 of the week is. I just think ETH just has so much institutional support and infrastructural support as well, with just about every major L2 being built on top of it. I think ETH is gonna have its day. I mean, it already is. Its percentages week over week on the charts are really, really strong. And yeah, I know. Looking at the show notes, I know we'll get there in a minute, but yeah, I'm just as bullish ETH as I've ever really been. Um, and yeah, I think it's gonna be just a great time. Um, I do want to I do want to post a tweet or two of my own here, just
So
referencing. I know you're probably who I first saw this post this, but just reminding everyone, you know, I take everything all these KOL influencers, whatever, have with just a grain of salt. But someone who I think is just about as reputable as trustworthy, definitely not pumping their own bags because they don't need to, is, Kobe, maybe the GOAT of crypto Twitter trading, all of it. Um, remember, I mean, he said this back in November of last year. So this is a 7-month-old take at this point. But the hard road goes from 80K to 100K. The easy road goes from 100 to 250K. The numbers might be a little bit off there when all things are said and done, but I think we've seen just last week, right, how quickly we can move from whatever we were at 110, 112K, something like that. And I mean, we made new all-time highs of 120, 122,000 just yesterday. So I think we're really just getting started with all this. And another tweet I saw was people don't remember what it's like to see their coins go up, 10 to 20% 5 days in a row. But that's the kind of price action we can see when we're in a real, true bull market. So make sure you're locked in, folks. I can only say it so many times.
yeah, I think he'd probably amend that to like 110K because that was really the resistance that we're seeing about. But yeah, I mean, if we go to 250K this cycle, that'd be pretty juicy. I'll tell you what. I think it's possible. I mean, there's a lot going for crypto and just risk assets in general. I mean, dollar is just basically seems like it's going to be down only for a while, given the giant spending bill that's got passed. We have in it seems like multiple rate cuts happening before the end of the year. So it just seems like the risk on switch has been flipped. And from everyone that I follow who I respect, has said that they're bullish for at least this month in the short term. Maybe we get little dips more in the summer, but definitely for like the rest of the year, feeling really good about the outcome of things. Um,
Yep, same here, man.
yeah.
I think this, obviously the sell in May, go away mantra was kind of correct for a couple of weeks there, right? Maybe the last, yeah, 3 to 6 weeks or so, you probably would have been better off just kind of selling at a short-term top there and coming back. But I do think we're primed for a great couple of weeks and hopefully even months here to kind of go into the end of 2025, 26. I do have one question for you. I'm just curious about your opinion on the whole, ETH treasury company, Bitcoin treasury, right? All everyone kind of
Mm.
following the Michael Saylor playbook, like you were talking about. Seen some well-respected traders. I think Don Alt might have been the most vocal about it sometime in the last few weeks, but he seemed. And I'll see if I can find the tweet, but he seemed to think that there will almost certainly be a time, not necessarily even 2025, but there will be a point in time when, we do get dips on these coins, everything isn't up only forever, everything is cyclical, especially markets. But he thinks that all these treasury companies will in fact kind of implode at some point, especially when, you know, coin prices fall and they start going lower than where they bought them at, and that can kind of just cause a chain reaction of all these major companies holding such big positions selling off and just having like a negative feedback loop. Have you thought about that at all? Do you have an opinion there? Do you think that maybe that's a little overreactive? I'm just curious kind of what you think as far as obviously when we see millions and even billions of inflows from these companies just buying, that's bullish. But do you ever see it turning the other way and becoming a little bit negative and maybe something that we should take a little bit of precaution with?
Um, I would preface this with I'm certainly not, an expert in this, in this type of thing, but I will. Personally, my opinion is yes. I think it will probably um, have quite a cascading liquidation effect, where they're gonna have to sell off their assets at some point. Like Don says, even though he's saying that, he also said again, like a reference to earlier, he thinks it's barely begun. I think that he thinks
Hmm.
that's it's going to get pretty wild first before any of that starts to happen. So I'm not too worried about it yet, but it's kind of, I mean, it's like it seems to me like any other Ponzi where it's going to fall apart eventually. Um,
Hmm.
but you want to ride it up while it goes. So we'll see what happens. I do think, yeah, I mean, once we get into, whatever the next bear market period looks like, I think we'll certainly see some of these companies. I don't know if, MicroStrategy, I don't know if it'll be Sailor. I think it'll be like the smaller ones first, the ones who come in later and who have a worse cost basis on their buys. Probably will be the first ones to have to liquidate as well. Um, and we'll see how low it ends up going. But I think it also will present, if you look at another opportunity to buy lower than what the price should actually be, kind of what happened with FTX, um, with these forced liquidations of things. We saw, I think we could get another similar situation if these companies do unravel, where price would go a lot lower than what whatever fair market value would be for stuff like Bitcoin and ETH. It can give us good buying opportunities at those times, but I don't think that's anytime soon right now. I think we go higher first. Love to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would love to hear other opinions though. I know we got a lot of people here today, which is awesome to see. Market back
Ooh.
participation. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts about what we're talking about with macro stuff, Bitcoin, ETH. Would love to get some takes if anyone in the crowd has anything they wanted to talk through.
What's up, Jake? How you been, bro?
Oh, what's up, Seinfeld?
Uh, so I had a question based on what you've seen from different people on CT, and this is the big swing kind of question. It's obviously hard to predict, but I'd love to hear what you think and what like other people think about us seeing potentially majors like Sol. ETH is a little more of a stretch, but like things like Sol and ETH doubling before Bitcoin does. And then, if Bitcoin gets to 250K, is that kind of, from what other people have said, the end of the cycle top, so to say?
Bubbling before, yeah, I think it definitely can happen. I think just look back at historical, like just looking back at the charts of like 2021, and comparing a bit and seeing actually how much we actually pumped. I feel like we just haven't experienced it in quite a long time. That people aren't used to seeing some type of face ripping pump and like don't think it can happen even anymore. Um, but if we look back at like the ETH chart in 2021 or whatever, I mean, we went, let's see, I mean, price almost like 8x for ETH in 1 year in 2021. Um, going from the lows of like 1500 to 6K or something, I don't think is out of the question at all. And obviously, I think Bitcoin can pump a good amount in that time, but again, it takes less capital to pump these smaller market cap stuff. And if there's a fervor for people wanting to catch up um, on the next big thing outside of Bitcoin because they missed out and they want to go further down the risk curve, then I could certainly see some type of like alt season, if you will, for these other bigger ones happening and doubling up. Yeah.
No, that'd be awesome because right now my portfolio is basically one third each Sol, Bitcoin, ETH, and I would love to see that kind of like feral, day to day huge jumps on ETH and Sol. And when I think it's kind of hit my price target, I'm gonna just basically transfer everything into Bitcoin. Hopefully, that hasn't gone to 200K by then, so I see another potential, 1.5x. But you saying 8x, I'd love to take Bitcoin, I mean ETH at 24K. So thank you for the financial advice.
I don't know about that. I don't know about 8x. I was talking
No,
about last time. I think it might be smaller this time. I'm saying like if it could be 4x from the
dude, I'll
bottom,
take a
which was like
fucking 2x
1,500.
on ETH.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be like 6K, be like a 2x from now. Um, take that all day.
But I do think
Anything else?
Sol does have a lot more room to run. I don't think like 350 Sol is the top we see.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about Soul. I'm not super. I feel like just Soul had a huge run up already from obviously single digits. It's already gone up like 20x or more this cycle. And has a lot of unlocks as well. Comparatively, so I'm a little. It has with this pump team constantly selling. Um, so I don't know. I'm not as super bullish on Soul as I am on some of these other coins. Stuff like XRP. Actually think ETH, given how down bad it's been and how many people are now sidelined on it. I like a decent bit more, I would say. But Soul certainly can still perform well, given all the activity that's on it.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you.
Anything else on macro stuff, bigger coins, Bitcoin, ETH, Soul from you guys before we move on here?
I was just thinking real quick of like a thesis I've been playing with alts and that like what's gonna pump more. This like new breed of alts from Pengu, Fartcoin, whatever the hell you like, versus kind of older memes or even just like I just saw EOS this week pumped 30 after I was like talking shit about it for years. I'm just wondering what you guys think about these random kind of like really old fucking Litecoin level alts versus the new crop.
XLM, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I haven't really looked into them honestly. But we did see that. We did see like the Dino coin phase. I think it was like end of 2024 maybe, where they all started ripping like Litecoin and stuff. Um, I mean
Totally
maybe
like
we do. I
Ripple.
think yeah, like Ripple. I mean that's ripping now though too. Um, I think the benefit of those kind of coins is that a lot of them are like fully circulated, so there's not any like new unlocks and sell pressure coming out for them. So they could get, um, if they do get a rally, it could be an explosive one. But
I mean,
I don't know. Personally, I'm not super into them. Maybe if there starts to be like a meta in a season of it, I could hop on the train.
Good call. I hear you. I'm mostly in Pengu anyway.
Ranch, I do agree with you. I think the Dino coins are almost a special group of alts in my mind. Like you kind of list them out there, the Cosmos, XLM, XRP, EOS, like really, really older coins that, people have, the common trope of you've heard your taxi driver talk about it during tops, right? Like, he's asking you if you've bought XRP or, he's saying XRP to $100 or something. I think we will see another pump on those at some point, but I am much less bullish on stuff like, the alts that came after that that are much more recent, like the dog with hat kind of class of alts. I think those are almost like a cycle or a half cycle, too far back that people would rather just play the new coin. And to take a phrase out of Jez, Isabel's playbook, new coin good, right? Like that. People are constantly, attracted to the shiny new thing. Part of, my thesis of why I think pump will do well, at least in the short term, is that. And so I think you've got your Dino coins that people have heard about for 5, 6, 7 years now. That those will do okay. I think the intermediate ground of stuff that came between them and like right now, I don't think that'll see as big of a pump. And then you've got the brand new coins, the like you said, the Pangus, the fart coins, the pumps, those will also do well. But anything in between there, I'm probably gonna just stay away from and just consider it a scam pump in my book.
Sweet. Thanks, yeah.
Before we move on to, I do want to obviously get to the pump stuff. Did want to shout out XRP at least because we've been talking about it quite a bit on the show. Um, how bullish we are on XRP stuff. Here's an update. Obviously, it's up quite a bit this week, which has been awesome to see. Got a really nice pump, up 27% on the week, hit above $3. And these are a couple of charts that Don, who's been a big XRP bull, is following them. He's on some higher time frames here, but he basically expects, um, this one from today at 2 a.m. Eastern time. You can kind of see he expects quite the pump of another big leg from it, similar to what we saw in late 2017. And he thinks we're kind of in the same area of like just the beginning of the pump. I think he said like 6.9. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was memeing, but maybe he also kind of wasn't as far as what he expects for his price target. So there's a good, I think, even though it has ripped quite a bit, I think we're super close to all time high right now. And I think, breakout could be extremely explosive. I feel like we just see this with XRP where it underperforms for like the vast majority of the time of the other coins, but then it'll just have these pumps where it just goes parabolic all of a sudden, and those are kind of the times you want to ride it. And it seems like right now is that time to kind of ride the XRP wave at the moment. So I'm continuing to look at XRP as a play. Um, Personally, for if I want to get in some leverage stuff on some dips, I want to at least shout out XRP before we move down here.
Yeah, and just on the whole altcoin sphere, the another one or two that I'd like to shout out is Hyperliquid, um,
Oh,
making new all-time highs. I think it's at I don't even know what, 48, $49, something like that per coin. Um, that's doing great. I think we saw, yeah, I don't know if it was yesterday or this morning, there was a new treasury company announced that's basically just buying Hyperliquid. And then here, I'll pull up the tweet for it as well. I think it was a really, really interesting, like something I didn't realize. And the user Flood actually talked about it. If anyone's familiar with him, he's kind of one of the newer main characters of crypto Twitter. Um, but he was saying that all of these companies, doing these raises and, basically making themselves a crypto treasury vehicle, that if you're under a certain size, there's mandates in place where, either individuals can't really own any shares of it or that they can or can't be securities, something like that, unless they reach unless the company is at a 1 billion market cap or something like that. So what the one that was announced is it will be around that. They bought over 500,000 in hype, and they have a ton of money into it, and so that will allow, because they have so much and they've kind of bypassed whatever that regulation or standard says that they have to reach in monetary value, that more people will be able to enter it and it'll be less restrictive from a regulatory aspect. And basically, all that is to say is it's super bullish for hype. So I just wanted to shout that out on top of being at all time highs. I think that's kind of kind of noteworthy in and amongst all of the crypto treasury hype. I'm posting in chat right now for anyone who wants to read it over.
Love it. Yeah, super bullish on hype as well. I haven't like I don't know, for some reason I just haven't really bought it. But I think because I'm just waiting for a dip and it never really has like that big of a dip. Or it does when like it just when everything else dips a ton, it just doesn't dip as much. But I probably will start to get into it more now that has a little bit more degen perps on it. Because for a long time it was only like 3x or whatever, but now I think they have 10x. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm super bullish hype as well. I think it's just an excellent product all around. Has incredibly strong revenue, and they continue to innovate in a lot of different areas. Most recently, like a Phantom wallet integration too, where people could use it right from their Phantom wallet, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, right? All those people, I believe it was mainly that product on Phantom was mainly released for EU users, in Europe, but
Okay.
that they don't need to know that they're using Hyperliquid for it to still be bullish Hyperliquid, right? Because the way the
Yeah.
mechanism works is Solana, when you do it through Phantom, you're actually selling the SOL into USDC and using that it like moves it over and does all your perp trading on Hyperliquid basically. So in order to do that, you're basically selling your soul for Hyperliquid without even knowing it. Which I think just how smooth and even just how everything that's all under the hood. You don't need to know how it works for it to be bullish for the price action of hype. So I do feel like we'll see that at some point in the next few weeks or months during this cycle. Hype will just jump up, and it's because it has all these different kind of mechanisms working together to that people might not even realize they're using. So yeah, TLDR, bullish hype.
Yes, sir. Love it. Yeah, let's move to pump stuff. It's only 20 minutes away, so might as well dig in here.
Ooh.
Yeah, Pump G goes live. As a quick recap, always had the public sale on Saturday, just a couple days ago, and that sold out. I think they said in 12 minutes. It was even shorter. I'm pretty sure. I wasn't paying super attention to it. I think it was even shorter on a lot of the big exchanges where people weren't able to get in, um, who wanted to. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people who got in through the actual pump site. And that was like the easiest
That is what
route.
I saw.
Yeah. But it was KYC and US was banned from it, so um, that's a pretty big base of people, along with people who wanted to get into exchanges and didn't. I think there's quite a bit of like built up buy pressure to at least support the price early on, of people who weren't able to get in. That I think it's gonna do pretty well. Not to mention the fact that obviously the entire market is ripping up, which helps it a ton. Personally, I think the pump uh, this pump launch will do well. I don't know. I'm not going to give like a price target or anything. We can track it though already, so I don't really need to. I'd say you can track it right now on the pre-launch stuff on Hyperliquid, and it does have pretty big volume. Yeah, 300 million of volume just on the pre-launch token perps on Hyperliquid right now. So that's a pretty good indicator already of where people expect price to be. It's at 0.0058 right now, which is like 5.8 billion market cap. Um, and yeah, so that's at least just a rundown. I guess like some quick TLDR of my thoughts, and I want to get like a lot of other people's thoughts too. And please, if you have anything differing as well, I'd love to hear that too. But I personally think it's going to do well off the launch. I think it probably continues to trend up a bit more from where it is at now. I'm mainly looking to play some of the other related plays, hoping for a bit of a dip on stuff like Launchcoin and Bonk. given that they are obviously competitors, both token launch pads as well. But Bonk because it's like a third of the market cap, but it's doing basically even amount of market share right now, and it's been the one that's increasing in market share for new token launches as well. So I think that's super bullish. I think it should be priced a lot closer to where Pump is. So if people liquidate Bonk, and we get a decent dip on it, then I'm going to certainly looking to enter there. And then also launch coin. Excuse me, fucking a lot. I gotta like take a breath here. Um,
He's too bullish, folks.
and then launch coin believe. I like them too. I think they're still retaining like an okay market share, even though they haven't been talked about as much recently. I think they're. I've been watching their ecosystem. I think they're doing a good job of moves that they made. I really like their social media person that they hired. I think they're like kind of like making fun of themselves a bit, and Ben and people really have been responding very positively to that. So I think that's helping their reputation a good amount. Um, and they've been kind of quietly, not qu- a little bit quietly, launching some new partnerships, new benefits, ecosystem funds for creators. So I think they're really lining up. They have a lot of Web 2 connections, so I think they're gonna really be starting to line up some bigger names to launch on. I believe, and I think once that happens, then the underlying token could do pretty well. Then obviously there's the big expectation of some type of utility that Pasternak has tweeted about being some kind of flywheel for launch coin, and if that happens, I would expect a pretty huge spike from launch coin stuff. And then just the fact that I think people look at it as a coat play or Pump. If Pump does well, it's basically a beta, and it's at like one I don't know 1/30th of the market cap. So it could move a good amount. Um, given it's such a low market cap, could be pretty volatile, and I think people could look at it as a bit of a coat play as well. So I'm looking at those two, and then the other one I'm looking at is Fartcoin. Just because it's been consolidating a ton. I think there's a lot of people who've kind of just been waiting to buy Fartcoin because the same buyer base as Pump and Fartcoin are pretty similar. And I think people are like playing Pump and then cashing out and then wanting to go to. I think there's gonna be a good amount of people rotating from Pump profits into Fartcoin as well. And it's just been consolidating for so long. It looks really good. And I'm bullish on it because I think TradFi's pretty big on Fartcoin as well. So those are kind of my three plays I'm looking at, hoping for a little bit more of a dip here once TG happens and people are playing the Pump stuff. I'm kind of looking for the other things, but that's in general kind of my take on things. But again, Silva, would love to hear your take. Would love to hear everyone else's as well.
Yeah, man. I agree with a lot of that. I was hoping you would take a breath, just so, but because you beat me to it, I was gonna say the exact same thing. I had that line queued up of I like Launchcoin as a beta to Pump. I think you see a lot of a very similar, kind of makings in in the launch coin, or sorry, in that launch pad, Pasternak's launch pad, and something you've pointed out, they do have a new socials guy who's just been killing it, memeing, self-deprecation, which really, the crypto Twitter crowd kind of latches onto. Um, so I love what they've got going on there. And I mean, you nailed it. It's a cope play. It's all the U.S. Individuals who couldn't get into the pump pre-sale. They can get into something that's similar enough at 1/30th the price, and I definitely think we will see. I honestly think we see that after pumps a lot. They're gonna see it pump, and they're gonna think, "Okay, well, I can't buy this now. It's already at a 2.5, 3x from pre-sale," and they're gonna look for something else that's close enough, and I think enough people are gonna settle on launch coin that we see that kind of rally, after pump. Um so yeah, I love I love Launch Coin as a beta play. Similarly, I love a lot of the memes you listed there, Bonk, Fartcoin. I think those are, whether we get a full blown alt season or not, I think we're gonna see rotations there from pump pre-salers taking profits at some point. and on pump just by itself. I linked again Jez his thesis on just how he sees pump going originally from the pre-sale a couple over the weekend, and then kind of reaffirmed it after the pre-sale. His thesis was really just 4 steps. One, he thought the ICO was going to sell out quickly and that perps would capture the overflow, and that was validated, right? That happened exactly. We got the 12-minute sellout. A couple of those exchanges basically got rugged because on-chain pre-salers went so hard, which is just great to see on-chain winning. um, the second point was that AM burgers can't ICO, which in crypto speak just means that because it was in the morning and burgers are US people, we couldn't buy in for the most part. That's just like you said, so much liquidity just locked out entirely, that's sidelined. Going to be hoping to get in whenever it launches in a few minutes here. Again, validated. The 48 hours between the ICO and the token, we're going just get liquidated. So a lot of the people longing and shorting it with leverage on Hyperliquid, for example, that's kind of where we've been. And then the fourth one, just his entire his big thing, his blog that he's been running for a few years now. New coin good, and then he says, "Yep, that's still true." So I fully agree with all of that. I think Pump's going to do really well, regardless of your opinion on the product, the team, what it actually does for memes and altcoins. I think, like a lot of things, you have to divorce that and separate it from a lot of just the hard metrics, like the amount of revenue that they've pulled in, the amount that they raised, what they plan, how they plan on doing buybacks. Like all of that just added together makes it feel like it's gonna pump. How hard and how high it goes is anybody's guess, but I find it very difficult to see that we're gonna go below the ICO price. So I'm excited to see that in 10 minutes, how that plays out. And then one last thing with hype. I think I've blessed him 2 or 3 days in a row, and it's still not enough. Just massive shout out to MVHQ MVP Gladiator, also in the VC right now. Gladiator, take a bow. He posted pretty publicly here in chat that he would be willing to help out anyone get into the pre-sale if they couldn't because they were in America or for any other reasons. Um, and as is the case, I know a couple of people, maybe myself, maybe not included, sent him over some USDC on Sol. He did the job. He got the pump token. He got in on the pre-sale. So Gladiator, such a great guy, such a great member for the community. And really it just that's what MVHQ is about. It's about all of us coming together, being able to help out everyone else, people who, you know, would otherwise miss an opportunity just to make what is, in my opinion, some pretty easy money. So yeah, Gladiator, take a bow. If Gladiator helped you out, send him a bless. That's the least we can do for our community here, trying to help each other out.
Love it. Gladiator, what a legend. Appreciate you doing that for everyone. Yeah, any thoughts? I'm sure a lot of people have opinions. Anyone who's playing this right now, I'd love to hear if anyone has like a different angle as well as what we talked about, or just thoughts in general on pump stuff.
What up, boys? Didn't know Gladiator did that. That's super cool. I think you guys are both spot on. I think that there's probably going to be potentially a little sell pressure. To Silva's point, there's definitely going to be some people buying in who didn't want to buy in off the perps because the margin was very tight for that. In terms of like liquidation levels were very close. So I think if there is a dip in the next 10 minutes here, I'm definitely going to be buying that and trying to flip it. My only concern for this cycle that we're having right now is just taking profits, and like I would definitely say more than other times, just taking profits and scaling out is such a good strategy here. It does seem like there's a lot of bullishness in the chat, and I always get a little bit concerned when you see that sort of like euphoric move after an insane leg up. Like if you just zoom out on every chart, it's pretty much just like vertical. So I do think we got a lot of gas in the tank, but I do think a lot of this is led by Bitcoin. My initial thought when Pump was coming out is like, hey, this is going to be pretty max extraction, just given the amount of inside buying that happened at a much cheaper valuation than 4 bills. So at some point in the background, there's definitely going to be early investors taking some big profit on that. I think it's a really good swing again off this dip here in 9 minutes. But I would just be cognizant of like, if this pump stops, you should be looking to sell and take profits, and don't like give back gains that you made. Obviously, anything could happen, but like things really have pumped pretty substantially over the last couple of weeks. So that's the kind of time where like, the risk on would have been awesome when Bitcoin was sub 100K. Everything else, it still probably is a good time with risk on because of the bill that passed, and the dollar devaluing is going to push a lot of these coins up. But if Bitcoin does falter, if you do see it fall below like 115 or anything like that, like I would just be ready to hit sell and take your profit if it's there. So just always want to shout that out because like it's easy to lose sight of that when it's bullish and give back gains. So I think there's going to be some really great plays in the next couple of minutes here, but just take some profits if you got them, folks.
Yeah, I love that shout, Ross. I definitely do agree. We know a lot. Some of the early ICO pre-buyers. Not from Saturday, but from the private rounds and stuff. They got in at valuations that reportedly might have been anywhere from 4 million to 20 million FTV. So they are guaranteed to be up massive multiples, and I think we just gotta pray that they don't dump on our heads all at once. And if not, and they're holding for the speculative pump, I think that's better news for us because it's less supply that can be sold off into the market. So yeah, fingers crossed, but that is absolutely something that needs to be considered. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There definitely are a couple of big players with really heavy bags. So you see any massive candles, could be a signal to get out before it candled even further, or could be a signal to buy the dip. But yeah, definitely more than one way to play this.
Are those early sales unlocked at TGE?
I don't
I haven't.
know. I mean, there's no way to truly know, I think, because I saw so many differing opinions on Twitter from a lot of people I do trust. Some say, they were in the pre-sale, some say they got offered the pre-sale, and so these were the terms I was offered, yada yada, and there were some conflicting reports. So I really don't have a solid answer there, which kind of does muddy the waters a little bit of how I want to play it, ideally.
Yeah, I haven't seen an unlock schedule. I've only seen them say that all tokens sold as part of the ICO are going to be fully unlocked on day one, which is everyone who got
Sorry,
in at
Jake.
that
Just
four.
it looks like it's live. Ricky is saying it's live.
Yeah, somebody
Oh,
went
good job.
early. I'm seeing on Axiom it's moving.
Good job.
It's happening.
Low liquidity though, so just be careful, y'all.
Nem liberou as techs ainda, né? Mas quem recebeu o token ainda não tá negociável ainda. Tá? Esse
Think you might have a
gráfico.
hot mic there, Mr. Bull. There we go.
I just joined and thought I was losing my mind. I was like, what the fuck am I listening to here?
Yeah, great shouts. As far as any other thoughts on how you guys are playing this right now, or what your thought process is on this, how it affects other things?
I think it's going to take some attention from everything else, at least for the next few hours, if not the next few days. Which means there could be other plays to be had while people are looking here, you look elsewhere.
And no, I don't see him in chat. I don't see Brian Dubb, but I know he kind of outlined his strategy or what he might do a couple of times in the shitcoin chat. I believe he said he bought the pump ICO and that he was planning on, and Lizard Capital also had a similar idea of shorting it on perps, just to have a delta neutral position and lock in somewhere around a 30 to 35% kind of ROI, which if you can have that at delta neutral with basically no risk, that's still a lovely, lovely little day of profits, taking a 30, 35% gain on whatever size you're using. So that's definitely another way to play it.
Yeah, it's a cook. Relic Hunter just shared the hyperliquid link for pump as well. I think that's the spot link, yeah.
Oh boy.
I shared a tweet earlier that Unit is going to allow you to transfer your spot pump into Hyperliquid if you wanted to trade it that way. And I believe Unit, who was just either had investments for Paradigm or bought by Paradigm, everyone believes that they will have their own airdrop in addition to whatever secondary airdrop that Hyperliquid has. So another way to play it.
You're referring to Unit, right? Would you be able to link that?
Yeah, I like the tweet, but I'll link Unit in a second here.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah, just for some thoughts on the trenches, on some lower market cap stuff, and I think a lot of people were kind of waiting, I'd say, for the pump stuff. Obviously, a lot of people sent money to it as well, who are super big into the trenches as well, given that it's the it's the biggest name for launch pads and coins in the trenches. So in my opinion, I think I think shit coins, people who are gambling on new launches, stuff like that. I think there's going to be quite a pretty big inflow of volume on them, given that, right now it's like almost, it's like a 40 to 50% gain, on like huge size for a lot of people, and maybe it goes even higher. I think, it's going to help a lot. There's going to be, there's not only like that hesitation of people just like waiting to go hard, but along with the fact that people did go pretty hard on the pump stuff with a good amount of their liquid. Now that they get it back, they can sell it off, make a profit from it, and I think it's pretty. Think it's a pretty fair assumption to say that a lot of them are going to use that to buy more shitcoins and to continue to gamble in the trenches. So I think there's going to be a nice influx of volume, which brings opportunities. And obviously, not to mention the fact that like all the alts and stuff are pumping too, with Bitcoin pumping. That always brings in a wave as well. So it's kind of like a two-folded thing, where I think we're gonna have a really nice season of trenches here, with all this new liquidity coming in. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm gonna definitely be spending a lot of time in the shitcoin channels, looking for opportunities here with the fam.
Jake, really quickly, just because I'm I'm fairly new, which is embarrassing to say, but fairly new to Hyperliquid. I mean, I've been using it just for, some perp trading and for a lot of spot volume, just farming it in case there is a season 2 airdrop or anything. But what is Hyper Unit?
I don't know. I honestly haven't used them before, so I don't know a ton off the top of my head. Maybe AI can explain more. If AI, you're there.
Yeah, it's basically a DApp that allows you to um, kind of like a bridge essentially but from sending from like multiple areas. So you can send Bitcoin, you can send Solana, you can send Fartcoin, and it allows you to natively bring it onto Hyperliquid. So I would consider it more as a bridge, but a lot of people think of it as a way to farm the EVM volume in addition to it having its own airdrop as well.
Got it, got it. And then I know there probably hasn't been any sort of hard confirmation from the Hyperliquid team, but there is expected to be a season 2 of sorts of an airdrop for Hype, correct? I think that's what the general consensus is, but I know that they don't have the point counter anymore kind of on your portfolio or anything, so I I wasn't sure if that was just kind of a big myth or if people actually do expect a season 2 airdrop.
Yeah, I would comfortably say that people expect it, and it would be a surprise if they didn't. The timing of it, though, is out there. I've seen people suggest like January 1, and I've seen people suggest like more closer to the fall. And then from there, a lot of people are suggesting in order to farm it, do a lot of spot volume, do the EVM volume in addition to your perp volume, but that those other two are the new sort of things that they will base their airdrop on if there is an airdrop.
Got it. Thank you.
Um, yeah. Sorry, it's obviously pretty distracting with the pump stuff going on right now. Um, we don't have to get to everything. I don't know. So, did you want to talk about NFTs at all? I know you're usually pretty decently plugged in. I haven't been, but I have seen, obviously a lot of talk about how prices have been pumping. There's actually some movement over there. Do you have any thoughts on NFT stuff right now?
Yeah, definitely, man. If you just pull up, Blur or OpenSea, whatever you kind of use to monitor prices, you will see just about, everything is green across the board, especially, most major collections. Anywhere from a few percentage points, 1 or 2% to, you look at the big dog, and I wasn't gonna leave alts without talking about it, but Pudgy Penguins up 50% on the week. They were down, almost dipped below 9 ETH last week for a big Pudgy, and this morning when I hopped out of bed, they were at 14 and a half. They're down to just under 14 at 13.9 right now on Blur, but still, if anyone was even half paying attention on crypto Twitter last week, I'm sure you saw kind of at Thursday, Friday going into the weekend, every major exchange, Web3 company, whatever, they all changed their PFPs to Pudgies, most of them being honorary Pudgies they have. I mean, Coinbase changed theirs, Binance changed theirs, Jupiter changed theirs. And I'll find it real quick and post it in chat. But the Pudgy team even posted just a giant collage of of the um, all the different companies that change their PFPs to their Pudgy, and it's staggering. It's a lot. I want to find it really quick before I give a final number, but yeah, I mean, just scrolling through their timeline, it's Drift, Binance, Nansen, Radium, Oinkers. Here we go. Polkadot. I'm posting it now in a voice hangout chat. But it is the summer of Pangu. Oh no, different tweet actually. Quote tweet. Summer of Pangu, Kaido, Uniswap, OpenSea. It's everyone wants to be a Pangu, man. Moonshot, MetaMask, everyone and their brother. It's Pengu season, and I think that's validated by the NFT price action as well as the coin price action, which also has been up. I don't even know what 50, 60% seemingly every couple of days. It feels like. Yeah. Oh, on the weekly, Pudgy Penguin Pengu token is up 90%. 24-hour chart, it's up 27%. So they I think there's clearly something going on. There was another announcement that they have probably their biggest partnership ever set to be announced or dropped here at some point. So I'm sure that speculation is playing into it a large part, but you know, Pudgies are the face of crypto now. I don't know any way to show it any better than that tweet right there with the collage of everyone having an honorary Pudgy except for me somehow.
Yeah, it does seem pretty obvious now that it's the Pudgy world. Shout out! I mean, there's been a lot of people who've been really bullish on Pudgies. I haven't been in that trade, but I'm happy for a lot of people in MVHQ who've been in that, and also Pengu, which has been ripping as well. So that's been really cool to see. Everyone doing well on that stuff, and good to see. I mean, just the risk on of NFTs doing well. Has there been any other? Sorry, I have not looked at really NFT stuff with all this other stuff going on, macro and pump and other coins. Has there been any other big movers?
Um, yeah, there's definitely been a couple, like just, scrolling through the chart here. Moonbirds is up 20% to about 0.75 ETH. Joe had a good call out yesterday that some Jack Butcher stuff has been moving, like checks and OPEPens. So that's nice to see as well. Just kind of scrolling through here. Hell, even Cool Cats are up 50 or almost 15%, to a 0.44 floor. So lot of good stuff pumping. Definitely a good idea to check through your wallets and everything, see if there's anything you want to jettison off onto a farm up north, reclaim some liquidity, because now is the time. These pumps aren't ever guaranteed to last, as we've seen in the past. So if you've been bag holding anything, now is as good a time as ever to get off, unless it may be a pudgy asset. Then you might want to hold for a little while longer. Not financial advice, as always.
Love to see
And
it,
I know
man.
another one you've talked about a fair bit, the Bad Buns, it's on ETH, but technically a mega ETH collection. They've also been bouncing around a little bit, but they look really nice here as well. What were they at? Yeah, they're about 0.42 ETH. I think they hit a high around 0.5, 0.6 ish. So they've been bouncing around there, but I expect them. I hold a few. I expect them to pump and hit. I would not be shocked to see them hit 1 ETH at some point. They've been being swept by a bunch of big collectors in the space, Legendary, D Farmer, that sort of thing. So notably, those guys have pretty diamond hands. So I think if we get any sort of news or even speculation on a mega ETH launch date, I expect to see those kind of to trend upwards pretty quickly based off of that. So Pudgies, Bad Buns, those are a couple of collections I'm holding, and just seeing where they go. Right, it's bullish times. I'm holding, so we'll see.
Yes, sir. Um, yeah, love all the shout outs. Bad Buns have been like a staple coin basically, but I feel like they're gonna. Oh shit! Sorry, I just seen some candles now on some coins. As people get into it, looks like pump is starting to pump here quite a bit off the lows. I think it got that down to like 5.4 or so, and now it's up to 6.2, rising pretty quickly. Yeah, good to see the wins. Um, hopefully,
One last
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Jake. One last shout for NFTs, which Ezra put in quotation marks. Fantasy Top. Obviously, Ezra and I are Fantasy Top bulls through and through. Have a little show about it as well, weekly show. But they just announced this morning, like maybe 10, 20 minutes ago, and I'll paste it here in chat as well. They are officially migrating to base this week. Um, So Fantasy Top leaving Blast, which is a ghost chain essentially, moving over to Base. They have the full support of Base. They have an integration in the Coinbase wallet. Jesse Pollock has been bull posting them a bunch, and I think obviously this, the speculation that this leads to is pretty obviously whenever they do have their fan TGE, right, the fan token, fantasy token. I would be shocked if this does not, end in like a day one Coinbase listing for them, right? They've geared up to be a huge partner with them. And I think that's about as bullish of a move as you could make, leaving a dead chain and going to one of, if not hopefully the biggest consumer chain, in the near future here. So everything that means with Coinbase wallet, onboarding normies, just having access to Coinbase, the exchange itself, massive, massive liquidity there that could be unlocked for them. And we've already seen a couple of big whales upon the announcement in the news, a couple of big whales sweeping tons of cards. So just anything who has been playing fantasy, been thinking about getting in, just a little fair warning there. We're moving to base this week. So yeah, hope you're ready. Hope you have your positions, because I think we're gonna go up, if not forever, definitely for the short term future here. So good move by Fantasy Top.
Yeah, agreed. That's bullish to be moving from Base to a better ecosystem, a lot better ecosystem, and getting support from them too. It's good to see. Always like the Fantasy Top product.
Yeah, and I can say, just I'm having some chats with the founding team the last couple of weeks. This has been in the works for a while. It's not just a flash in the pan thing. Obviously, it takes a lot of planning and coordination, right, with Coinbase to have their institutional support like that. So I think you're starting to see a lot of things that have been worked on in the background and under the hood, out of the public eye, kind of come to fruition in this week, next week for that Fantasy Top team. A little birdie did tell me there will be a full-on site redesign as well, so everything should look smoother, snappier, and just trying to make onboarding ever easier for those normies, right? They want to be the fantasy sports of Web3. So every little step and increment that they can take there, I'm big supporter and big fan of. End rant.
Love it. Anything else on NFT stuff from you guys? Or anything else you guys wanted to chat through? Yeah, we're 15 minutes over the hour mark. Obviously, we had a lot to talk about today. Been a lot of fun. Glad we had been chatting that long. Obviously, we got a lot of people in here. We can continue to chat it up. We have the pump TGE going on right now. Doing pretty well. I think it's like 0.064 when I last checked just a second ago. Or 6.4
Let's
billion, I
go.
should say. So yeah, been pumping. A lot of moves on some of these alts that we've been talking about too. So yeah, it'll be fun. Anything else before we wrap it up? Obviously, people can stay in here, keep chatting. But anything else as far as show wise that you guys wanted to talk to?
I did
Well,
promise
thank
Jinzo
you
I would
guys.
do his best. I did promise Jinzo I'd do my best Greek impersonation. So Souvlaki, Spanakopita, yeah. So I think that hits the quota.
Damn,
Love it.
Silva, I didn't know you could chill like that, bro. That was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys. Thanks everyone who hopped in here, helped out, joined the combo. Always love that. Always welcome. We'll continue to do these. Again, even though Jinzo's out over in Greece, Silva's graciously done an awesome job filling in. So thank you, Silva. And yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. We can end the show here, but obviously continue to chop it up here in VC. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir, Jake. Appreciate you having me on, man. Happy to always step in for Papa J. Yeah, just apologies for all the ranting and raving, but if you're not going to be bullish now, I mean, when are you going to be bullish?
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. Talk to you later.
Peace.
Thank you.